When it comes to memory cards, my go-to brand for the last few years has been SanDisk. I've always been really impressed with how reliable their cards are. In fact, all of my memory cards are now SanDisk exclusively. The card specifically that I mostly use is their Extreme Pro models, and these recently saw an update from 95 megabytes a second speed up to 170 megabytes a second. And this is where I've actually discovered that SanDisk are slightly devious gits. So the old 95s were stated as having a maximum potential read speed of 95 megabytes a second and a maximum potential write speed of 90 megabytes a second. SanDisk now advertise the new 170 versions as having read speeds up to 170 megabytes a second, but the write speed still remains around 90. So the 170s actually offer no real upgrade to the 95s in your camera. They're not going to help clear the buffer any quicker when you're shooting fast bursts of stills. They're not going to help you get faster bitrate videos. They're not even going to help with the playbacks because the cameras generally can't play back as fast as the cards can offer it to them. The only real advantage of the 170 megabyte a second read speed is when you are copying files from your card onto your computer. Now, I've hit this snag a few times, not so much with the stills, because with stills I may be dealing with a few hundred, maybe 1,000 photos on occasions, but it doesn't generally cause me a problem. Where it has been an issue at times is with shooting video, because with the Sony cameras with 100 megabits a second video, an hour's worth of footage equates to 25 gig worth of data. And there's been so many times with the old 95s that I've been sat there watching this progress bar slowly creep up, sat static at 90 megabytes a second, no more than that, just crawling along, and there's me twiddling my fingers, waiting for all these files to copy over so that I can actually start editing the video. So in principle, the 170 megabytes a second offer nearly double the read speed, so in theory should take almost half the time to copy the files over, a lot less sitting around. Happy days. So I went ahead and I bought a couple of the 170s to use specifically for videos over the 95s. And this is where things got a little disappointing. You see, the 170 megabytes a second are still UHS-1 cards. They're not classed as UHS-2. And this is my UHS-1 card reader. Now, when I tested both the 170 and the 95 meg cards in the UHS-1 card reader, I found that they pretty much matched each other for read and write speeds, both having read speeds of around 92 megabytes a second and write speeds around 84 or 85. So I went ahead and bought myself a Transcend UHS-2 card reader because obviously UHS-2 is a whole lot faster. So this has a maximum potential read speed of 260 megabytes a second, so shouldn't be a bottleneck. Except when I tested both the 95 and the 170s in this, again I found they matched each other, with read speeds now up to 95 megabytes a second and write speeds around 86 megabytes a second. So a marginal improvement with the UHS-2 card reader than the UHS-1, but still nowhere near the potential of the 170 megabytes that's advertised. Then I did some digging on SanDisk's website and found that they say the only way to get the potential from these new 170 meg cards is to use specific card readers, and the one they suggest is this, their very own SanDisk UHS-1 card reader, which is currently on Amazon at £12. And sure enough, when I tried the 170 meg cards in their specific card reader, I got much better performances, actually exceeding what SanDisk state. The tests brought back read speeds of 178 megabytes a second and write speeds of 99. In reality, when copying files off these cards into Windows, I'm getting about 160 megabytes a second, but it's still a vast improvement over what I was getting. But then this is where I was shocked, because then for giggles, I tried the 95s in the new card reader just to see what would happen. Someone's dreaming about memory cards. The 95 meg cards with the SanDisk card reader give you the same 178 megabytes a second read speed and 99 megabytes a second write speed that you get with the 170s. So clearly these are exactly the same cards, and the only thing SanDisk have actually changed is the sticker on the front. Now, it is a little bit of a pisser that you need the specific SanDisk card to get the maximum potential from these, and a UHS-2 card reader can't get it. Because if you're somebody who's got UHS-2 cards, you're going to have a UHS-2 card reader, and if you're getting a couple of these to go alongside them, you're only going to get the maximum potential by having a separate card reader. But it does mean that if you're somebody like me who has a fleet of the old 95 cards and you're considering getting 170s for that faster read speed, you don't need to bother. All you need to do is buy a £12 card reader, which incidentally, even if you buy the 170 meg, you still need the card reader anyway. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing because, to be fair, SanDisk have basically phased out the old 95s now and replaced them with the 170s at pretty much the exact same price point. So you're not really losing anything. But at face value, SanDisk do make out like the new 170s are an improvement over the 95s, and they're not. It's just the card reader unlocks the potential in any of these cards. So I will leave links in the description down below to the memory cards and more specifically the card reader. And if you have any questions or queries, leave a comment down there as well. Thank you so much for stopping by, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.